Hi everybody, Matt here from Matt Likes Comics. Today's video is going to be a little different than my usual ones. Instead of having a pre-scripted thing or a haul video per se, this is only a slight haul video of one book, but what I wanted to do was give a little bit of show a little bit of books that I have connected to a company that a lot of people out there love. That company is EC Comics. And EC Comics originally started as an entertaining comics as a company started by Max Gaines back in the 1940s, late 40s, after he had sold All American Comics to DC with all its characters like Flash, Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, Hawkman, etc. to DC Comics, only keeping one title called Picture Stories from the Bible. This was the kind of stuff that Max Gaines put out. He put out movie comics and Bible comics and that sort of stuff as entertaining comics, and probably would have continued to if not for an unfortunate accident in 1949 where Max Gaines passed away trying to save the life of a young boy, which he did manage to do, who was the son of one of his business partners. He saved the child but drowned himself. At this point, his son William inherited the company, changed the name from Educational Comics to Entertainment Comics. And the rest is history. We all know what happened to EC Comics. EC Comics became this great horror / sci-fi company / mad company that war books that had an interesting and awesome direction that was different than just about everything that was being published at the time. They took the pre-cord horror to levels that have never been done before, and thus egging on other companies to go as hard as they did in order to stay afloat. EC Comics sold a ton of comics. We're talking so many that eventually they were bought by the Kinney Company in the 60s, who also at the time owned DC Comics, which is how Mad Magazine, by the way, ended up being owned by DC today. Just saying it. The actual EC imprint, though, has remained with the Gaines family. That is important because that meant that the stories could be reprinted and sent out. What I'm going to show you right now is some of the reprints that I have and some of the new books being done by Oni Press, who have recently gotten the right to make EC style comics. They have the right to the name, they have the right to the likenesses, but not the names of the characters. So they ended up making their own ghouls, but they do not have the rights to the names of the books. So they had to come up with their own names. Anyway, this here is a collection of weird fantasy. I like it. It's got books from, it says here it's the first 5 issues, but the 5 issues are from the Gladstone reprints. They were renumbered. They're not the original numbering. But still, it's nice to have those. This one here is a collection of the Vault of Horror. This one is a collection of a few of the Tales of the Crypt books. Now, they are complete issues. They're not random books thrown in. This one covers issues 26 to 30. Again, that's the reprint numbers. But to give you an idea, the Witch's Cauldron story is in here. And they actually did reprint even the letter pages. from the originals. They did not print the ads. And here we have the last one I'm showing you from these collection that I've got is a Haunt of Fear one. What I did like was they did take one of the covers from the particular issues and used it on their thing there. They're just little collections. I like them because I can read them, and we all know that the EC comic stories from the 50s are extremely good. They are great reads. Everybody who can stomach them needs to read them, if only as a piece of comic book history. Because we all know that the EC comics led to the creation of the comic code that was in effect from 1954 to 2010. Now, I'm going to show some of the Omnipress books. This is Epitaphs from the Abyss 6. As of the recording of this video, this is the current issue. Here is one that I recently picked up. It's a one-shot called Shiver Suspense Stories. Shiver Suspense Stories. And this is all Christmas stories, sorry, with including there is one reprinted EC story in here. It's the last thing in there. This one is Cruel Universe number 5. I include all the Cruel Universe here because in particular I like their covers. The covers are, this is number 1. In particular, the covers are done well. They're all painted, but they all look great. This is number 2. Number 3, I believe. Yep. Number 4. Now, we come to the real reason why I'm doing this video. EC Comics is absolute greatness. To have an actual copy from the EC, the original EC Comics line, is to have a huge piece of history. In all my comic collecting years, I have not been able to pull off, as they're a little more pricey. I've never been able to pull off having an original run EC book until now. Thanks to Tyler from Pockets Full of Comics, I won his 1,000th subscriber giveaway. And the prize was this. Mad number 4 from 1953. This is the issue with Super Duper Man in it. So as a huge Superman fan, just getting this book was fantastic. But getting this book as my first real EC book really makes me feel happy. Because not only do I collect comics, I have a reasonable number of Mad Magazine. Mad Magazine has always been funny, and I learned a lot about pop culture and news in the 1970s and 80s based on the satire that was going. How else would a Canadian who's 9 years old know who Spiro Agnew was? And I remember that name because they made fun of it in Mad Magazine. So, I just wanted to take a minute to show some stuff from a absolute great piece of comic history. Not only was I able to get this is one of Tyler's grandfather's books. And I am honored. For those that don't know the story about Tyler, Tyler inherited a big bunch of books that his grandfather gave him from the golden age of comics. And to have one of them, a piece of that collection, is an honor. And I appreciate everything. Yes, I have read this. Now that I've read this, I am actually torn between getting it graded or not. I mean, it's not a huge. It's not like a. It's under mid grade. It's not the crappiest book in terms of condition. Don't take me wrong here. I'm very grateful to have this, but I'm talking about, is it worth sending in to get slabbed? And I don't think so. I'm not a slabber by nature anyway, so I think I'm going to keep this as is, and it's going to go on my shelf permanently because of the significance of the book. I've always liked EC Comics, but again, because I like to read them, I was more happy to get these collections rather than. And as for the Oni Press, well, I've done some videos on this already, so you get my opinions on them in those videos. But I really, really like DC Comics, and I'm really tickled pink to have one in my possession now. Do you have any EC Comics? If so, tell me below which ones you have, because doesn't matter if you have our fighting forces or weird science fantasy, Tales from the Crypt. It doesn't matter. It's all EC. It's all good. I really can't tell you about a bad EC comic, at least, while Bill Gain before the code. Some of the ones they tried to do after the code were a little iffy, but still interesting in terms of comic book history. Anyways, like, subscribe if you liked what I had to say today. As I said, comment below if you have any of the books and your opinions on EC Comics. They're great, for lack of a better phrase. Anyway, my name's Matt, and I like comics. And I hope you do too. And thank you for joining me today.